Hello everyone. So in this lecture we will discuss Markov reward process. So let us see how this Markov reward process is different from Markov chains. So the difference between the Markov random process and Markov chains is that we have this reward function also coming up in the transition probabilities. So what we do is we have this additional reward concept coming into play, whereas this reward function was not there in Markov chains. So let us see how we can formulate this reward thing in Markov chains. So a MRP is a Markov chain only, but with the values associated with the state transitions. So these transitions are known as rewards. So let us see how we can formulate a Markov reward process. So reward functions are nothing but basically evaluates how useful a transition is from a one state to another. So reward function somewhere it will help us to evaluate the transitions that we make from state 1 to state next. So we are actually giving a sense of reward when the agent is moving on these transitions, so that agent must know that this transition is good or this transition is good. So we will give rewards to each of these transitions, and so that agent will in the next iteration will try to take a path where the maximum reward it can gain. So somewhere it is basically helping us to train the agent. So a finite Markov reward process is basically a tuple consisting of states, state transition matrix, which we have already discussed in our last lecture, and then we have these two additional terms also which defines the Markov reward process. And the first is the reward function and the second one is the discount factor. So let us define each of these values individually. So the first one, S, is basically defining the finite set of states in which the agent will be moving in the environment. Then we already know that this is basically the state transition probability defined in either three of the ways. So either of these conventions, if they are found in the literature, you can easily correlate it with the state transition probability. The next thing we have in this list is R. So R is nothing but it's a reward function. So reward functions are basically defined in two ways. The first is the reward of being in a state S, and then the second is the reward which is offered when a agent is moving from S to S prime. So these two definitions are actually used in literature. So some people use this and some use this. So we will see the distinctions between these two rewards later on, but these are the common ways of representing the reward in Markov reward process. So a reward function RS or RSS prime is basically defined as the expected value of the reward. This is basically reward which we are defining in terms of a random variable capital R at time t plus 1. So what reward function is doing is it is calculating the expected value of the random variable capital R, which is the reward, at time t plus 1 when the agent is in state S at time t. So this is basically the reward function, and it is also written like this also, RS. The other representation where the reward is given when you are making a transition from S to S prime is also given like this, but now it is conditioned on two variables. One is the S of t and another one is S of t plus 1. So in the earlier case it was only conditioned on the present state, but here the reward is conditioned on two states. One is the first state at which the agent is currently in, and the second one is the next state where the agent will make the transition into. So you are actually calculating the expectation of the reward at time t plus 1, and it's also denoted by R of S comma S prime. So if the reward is in between the transitions, it is S comma S prime, and if the reward is given for a particular state, it is given as R of S. Then we have gamma. Gamma is basically a discount factor and its value is between 0 and 1. We will see the importance of gamma later. So let us take a simple example of Markov reward process which is given over here. So you can note here that this is very similar to that of Markov chain, but the only difference that we have here is that we have the rewards also associated with the transitions. You can see here now. So where you can see when the agent is moving from state A to state B, the reward associated with that is -1. When the agent makes a transition from B to state A back, the reward is given as -2. Whereas when the agent continuously remains in state B, the reward associated with that is given as 1. And similarly for A, it's given as 2. So in case of Markov chains, these rewards were not there. But now in case of random Markov reward process, these rewards will also be there. So this particular representation of the reward which is given over here is basically RSS prime. So here basically it's a reward given in between the S and S prime in which you are actually moving. So R equal to -1 is denoted like this. So when reward is given on the arrow, it means it is using the definition of RS comma S prime. And when the reward is given on the states itself, like for example, if I say that the reward, let us say -4, if I give like this, then it means you are actually using the definition of R of S, because you are actually using the reward at the state A. So things are pretty simple depending upon the convention which you are using. So all these things somewhere down the line boils down to the same concept, but as far as the terminology is concerned, we have to be careful in that. So for this particular example which we are discussing over here, the important thing is how to actually evaluate the value of RSS prime. So if we consider a particular state A, and if we want to calculate the expected reward for this state A, then that expected reward is basically represented like this. So as we have already discussed the definition for RSS prime, which is given like this. So it is expectation of the reward that you will get when the agent moves from S to S prime from time t to t plus 1. So it's a reward that you will get for a particular state A. So if you want to calculate the reward, so what you normally will do is, in order to calculate the reward, the expected value of a random variable x, if you want to calculate the expected value of the random variable x, it is nothing but the random variable x multiplied by the probability of that variable x in simplistic terms. So this is the way you calculate the expected value of any random variable x. So in a similar way, if you want to calculate the expected value of the reward of being in state A, is nothing but the reward multiplied by the probability of that reward in a very simplistic form. I am dropping out the conventions here, which we will be discussing in detail in few minutes from now. But if we want to understand in the simplistic terms, if I want to calculate the expected value of a random variable capital R, which is the reward of being in state A, it is nothing but a summation of all the rewards times the probability of these rewards. So here you can see that for a particular state A, we have two transitions. One is going from A to B, and another one is going from A to A itself. So the reward associated for the first transition, which is from A to B, is -1 times the probability of the transition that we have here. This is 0.9, and then we have for this loop here, we have again 0.1 times 2. So the effective value of this comes out to be -0.7. So this is the expected value of the reward that you will calculate for a state A. The important point that we have to see is that this 0.9, how come that is equal to P of R basically, because this is nothing but it's a state transition probability PSS prime, and how we are making it equal to P of R is the question we want to answer now. So let us see how we are actually making this P of R similar or looking alike to that of the state transition probability, which is 0.9 here, or 0.1 in this case when you are in state, when you are using this multiplication here. So let us see that now. So if we want to mathematically express the expectation of the random variable R, which we had written earlier in a crude way as R P of R, but it's not exactly this, it is actually this which is given over here. So here we have summation over all the random variables R, and then we have R times the probability of capital R, which we are saying it's a random variable, and that value, the instantiation of that value is small r, so that's why we are representing it as R equal to R here, given S comma S prime. So this is basically the actual mathematical formulation for the expectation of the reward function, which is given over here rather than this one. So this is just for the simplistic explanation that I wanted to make you understand, but actually mathematically it will be represented like this. And here you can see that this particular probability can be represented like this, in this format. So here you can see we have this factor which is given over here, which is the transition probabilities here. So these two, that is S prime over S and then S prime comma R given S. So this effectively is a transition probability. That's why we multiplied this 0.9 with R here, because we are assuming that this is basically the transition probability, state transition probability, whose value will be 0.9 and 0.1, which is given over here. So that's why we used state transition probabilities which are given over here to be multiplied with the corresponding random variable R to get the expectation value of being in state A when agent is moving from S to S prime. And similarly you can do it for state B also, where RBSS will be the expected value of the reward being in state B. So let us see how we got this equal to this in our next slide. So let us see how we get this value, that is from here how we are getting it to be equal to this expression. So for this we have to look into this tutorial here. So the important thing that I want to point out here is this thing. So if you recall, in case of Markov chains, we had P of S prime given S. So we were saying this as the transition probability that agent is having when it moves from state S to S prime. In case of Markov reward process, what happens is that this P of S prime given S becomes P of S prime comma R given S. So this extra information regarding the reward is also there. To be mathematically correct, when we were defining the Markov reward process here, it should be basically it should include this state transition probability, should include the information about the reward also, that is P of S prime comma R given S. In text, normally what happens is they represent the joint probability of the S prime and R as the transition probability, state transition probability. So this you will find in Bartow book, Sutton Bartow book, which is on reinforcement learning. So what they are doing is they are actually using the joint probability of the state, reward and actions. Actions we will discuss in case of Markov decision process. Here there is no action, so in case of Markov reward process. But what they are saying is they will use this as the generalized expression for state transition probability. So here if you have this in your hand, then you can easily calculate the state transition probability, that is S prime given S, and you can remove the rewards from this particular state transition probability by marginalizing this joint probability over R. So this is quite easy. So if you want to marginalize over R, you can do it using this expression. Now if I want to calculate the rewards which depends upon the state S, see there are two types of rewards which I have already pointed out. One is R of S, another one is R of S and S prime. So for both these rewards we have different expressions. So we are trying to find out the expressions for both these rewards, that is this one and this one. So for the first case, that is R of S, it is basically the expected value of the reward R of t given st minus 1 as S. So recall that in our earlier case it was r of t plus 1 given st as S. So we are actually, so both of these expressions are same. The only difference is that time t is, here it is t and here it is t plus 1, and here it is t minus 1 and here it is t. So both of them are actually same. So now we know that if we want to calculate the expected value of a reward, that is nothing but this expression, that is r times the probability of r given S. Now we want to calculate the probability of r given S, and this can be easily calculated from the joint distribution that you have over here. So in order to calculate the probability of r given S from the joint distribution that you already have, you can marginalize over S prime to get the probability of r given S. So once you have this value, you can easily plug it into this expression to get the rewards r of S given as this. So here, what we are saying is, that r of S is nothing but it's basically this expression. So this is basically the first expression evaluated in terms of this transition probability which we are taking in case of Markov random process. Now we will evaluate r of S comma S prime. So if you do that similar analysis for r of S comma S prime, we know that it's basically the expectation of the reward RT, and then you can easily replace this expression by this expression over here, which is again the expectation of the reward. Now we want to calculate this particular expression. So in order to do that, what we do is we actually know that we already have this joint distribution transition function, that is the probability of S prime comma R given S. We already have this in our hand, and we want to calculate this particular expression. So we are using this mathematical identity which is given on the right side, that is probability of A comma B given C is probability of A given B comma C times probability of B comma B given C. And here if you take A as R, B as S prime and C as S comma A, you can easily write basically this expression using this function, this identity. Here C is basically S only, not S comma A. Okay, so once we use this to obtain this expression, from here you can calculate the value of P of R given S comma S prime as this expression, and now you can actually put this value over here to get the answer for R of S comma S prime, which is this one. And if you recall, this is basically nothing but the one which we were discussing here. So if you recall, this is the expression that we have calculated using all these calculations. So here if you see, basically what we are trying to do is we are actually trying to represent this probability of R given S comma S prime in terms of the transition probability, which is normally given as the joint distribution of S prime comma R given S in case of Markov random process. So this complete expression is actually encoded as a transition matrix whose value is basically 0.1 or 0.9 depending upon how you are calculating the expected value of the reward for state A or state B. Or for state B it is different, and its value will be 0.9 and 0.1. So depending upon the situation, we are actually encoding this particular thing as a state transition probability. And to simplify our analysis, what people are doing is they are actually representing this complex function as P of S prime comma S. But some way or the other, in certain Berto book, you will see that it is actually P of S prime comma R given S. So this detail I wanted to share with you, and once it is done, and I hope that now you are in a good state of calculating the average rewards using this expression. So let's move forward and explore more about Markov reward process. So just to emphasize once again what this reward is, rewards are nothing but it's basically a measure which evaluates how good a transition is for the agent. So for example, here if the reward is given as -1, so the transition from A to B is given that -1 reward, which is not good. Whereas transitioning from B to A is given a negative reward, much negative reward, that is -2. So it's again not favoring the agent to move from state B to state A if it is in state B already. Whereas it favors state A continuously with a reward of 2. So it's a positive value. So it means that agent is actually favoring to be in state A. Whereas if an agent is in state B, it remains in state B with the reward of 1. So again, agent likes to stay in B. But if you look at the complete MRP process, agent likes to stay in A only, and that can be observed from the reward indication which is given. So now what we want to do is, like, we want to learn another concept which is called as return. Returns are often denoted by G of at time t for a particular state. So to be specific, it has to be returned at time t for a specific state S. So what is this return? The return is basically a total discounted reward from time step t. So it is actually denoted as GT, and it's basically the summation of all the future rewards that you will get moving from this state S to a final state destination, let us say S prime. So whatever states that will come in between this S to S prime, the rewards that you are getting in between all these transitions will be summed up to get the final value, which is the return of a particular state S. And note that for each of these transitions that you are making, so if you are in state S here and you are making a transition to another state, let us say S1, then to S2, then later on to S3, which is your final destination, which we are denoting by S prime. Then for each stage, when you are getting a reward, which is, let us say, S prime here, which is nothing but S1, and then we have reward S1, S2, then we have S2, S3. So whatever intermediate reward you are getting, you are actually scaling them by a factor of gamma. So basically this particular reward that you are getting is this one, let us say, and then you are adding to this reward which you are getting in the next transition, but you are multiplying it with the factor of gamma. Then again you are adding this reward to the earlier reward that you have already received, but with the factor of gamma square, and gamma is actually in between 0 and 1. It is also called as the discount factor. So you can see that agent is basically getting an immediate reward when it transitions from S to S1, which is the immediate state in which it is moving as RT plus 1, but all the other transitions which it is making to reach to S prime are scaled by factor of gamma and gamma square and so on. So once you write the compact representation of this series which you are getting over here, it can be represented in a compact representation as this. It's very easy. You can easily write a compact representation of this complete series as a single summation, which is given over here. Now a slight comment about this gamma. So if gamma is basically close to 0, then it is basically also called as myopic evaluation. So what it means by myopic evaluation is that we are actually giving emphasis to the immediate rewards that we are having, and we are not giving emphasis onto the future rewards which you will get once you transition from the immediate next state to the futuristic states. So as you can see, if gamma is close to 0, most of these components will be scaled by a very small amount, because if it is, let us say, 0.01, then this will be again 0.01 square. So the contribution decreases drastically as you move from one state to another. So what we are saying in short is that we are actually giving emphasis onto the immediate reward rather than going and depending upon the futuristic rewards which are given over here. So that's why if gamma is close to 0, we are going for a myopic evaluation, a short-sighted evaluation. Whereas if gamma is close to 1, then we are actually giving a far-sighted evaluation where we are giving importance to all all the rewards which we are getting in near future when you are making a transition from S to S prime. But if gamma is exactly equal to 1, then we are giving equal weightage to all the rewards. So we are normally selecting gamma to be between these two extreme situations. So why rewards are discounted? That is the question which I think most of you will be thinking of. So basically there are three different reasons for why rewards are discounted. The first one is the uncertainty about the future. So it's highly uncertain that whether you will be getting higher rewards in future or not. So what we are actually interested in is to get the reward as an immediate outcome for some process. So let us say if I give you $100 today, then it might be the case that in near future, if there is some natural disaster, so it might be the case that the price of the dollar will come down. So the $100 today will not be $100 in the near future when you try to convert it into some other currency. So there is highly uncertainty about the future. So that's why if you have $100 today, then you will try to convert it into your own currency as early as possible, rather than waiting for the price to increase in near future, because the future is highly uncertain. So that's why we give more importance to the rewards which we are getting immediate, rather than investing it and keeping it with us and waiting for the price to increase and then we will convert. So somewhere there is a highly uncertain future, so that's why we give less weightage to the futuristic rewards that we will get. So the immediate rewards are of importance to us. That's why rewards in future are discounted. So immediate rewards are valued basically over the delayed rewards which you will get when you move in future. And also there are, in order to avoid infinite returns in the cyclic Markov process, is basically one of the reasons to weight these rewards by a factor of gamma. So for example, if you have a process where your state is stuck into this cyclic process, in which you have a reward of, let us say, 2. So if you are stuck in this Markov process in which particular state is repeating every time, so what will happen is, if you do not have a discounted reward, then this reward will continuously add, which will result in a very large number. So this creates a infinite return problem, because if the chain is stuck in this, it will result in an infinite value of the return. But if we apply a discounted reward here, then what will happen is you will have 2 times gamma 2 plus gamma square 2, then plus gamma cube 2. So this particular series will converge because of this factor gamma. So somewhere you are actually trying to avoid this type of cyclic situation where rewards blows up. So in order to avoid that, basically we are using discounted rewards. So basically there are 2 types of limits that we have over this expression. So the first limit is basically defined like this, where infinite is replaced by n, and in another one it's basically infinity. So the reason for being at n is because we are actually going for an episodic task. So by episodic task, which means that if we are in state S1 and if we want to reach, let us say, Sn here, and if we take some states transitions to reach Sn, so this is basically a one episode where you are trying to reach from S1 to Sn. So when you move from S1 to Sn through all these intermediate transitions, it is basically called as one episode. And if you take another set of transitions to reach to this state, then it will be a second episode. So basically in episodic task, what happens is, if we are moving from state S1 to the final state, let us say Sn, then what we are, let us say S10, so whatever states that we are actually visiting till we reach S10 is basically defined by this capital N. So for example, if I am taking only 3 states into account to reach to S10, Then basically n is 3 here, so one episode contains these 3 states to reach from S1 to S10. And in the second let us say in the second iteration, if I take let us say if I take 5 states to reach S10, so then at that time n will be 5 for that episode. So this is first episode to reach from S1 to S10 using n is equal to 3. In the second episode, if I am going from S1 to S10 through 5 states, so then at that time n will be 5. Whereas in continuing task, or these intermediate states are, in continuous case, they are infinite, so that's why the summation is running from 0 to infinity. So once again I will repeat, for a specific episode, if you are moving from S1 to S10, and in between that episode if 3 states are there, then n will be 3. Whereas in the second episode, if you are moving from S1 to S10, and in between that if 5 states are there, then n will be 5. And each of this complete transition, that is from moving from S1 to S10, will be termed as one episode. And then again through different path, if I want to reach from S1 to S10, then this will be called as the second episode. So we have multiple such episodes in reinforcement learning to reach from origin to the target destination state. So here again I have a different example of Markov random process, and here you can see that for each of these transitions that we are given, the rewards are also associated with that. So here we can one thing we can observe is that moving from transition A to transition C is highly favorable because we have a 7 reward given to it. Whereas a self loop or staying in C is also highly rewardable for this MRP process because reward of 7 is given for this particular situation. So this is what is pointed out here also, that is the highest reward of 7 is associated with the transition from A to C, and for C being in the self loop. And the lowest reward is basically associated with transitioning from C to B, and its value is given as -1. So this transition is not favorable by the agent as the associated reward is -1. So let us try to work around and see how we can calculate the returns for this particular state A. So if I want to calculate the return for this particular state A, I will denote it by GT to the superscript A. So let us take two different paths. So if I want to go from A to C, which is the final destination, I can take two different paths. The first path can be taken as A to B, then B to C, and then you remain in C for 3 times. And here actually what we are doing is we are actually taking n is equal to 5 fixed. That is, we want the number of states in between A to C to be 5. So for a specific episode, we want 5 states to be there in between A and C. So that's why we have the movement from the state A to state C as A, B to C, and it continuously remains in C. Here we are actually taking n is equal to 5. So right now reaching from A to C is basically there is one path like this, and here if I want to calculate the returns for state A, then it can be easily calculated using this expression. So this GTA will be actually the immediate reward that you will get when you will make the transition from A to B first, and then you will discount the rewards that you will get for the future transitions. So the transition that you are making from B to C will be discounted by a factor of gamma, and similarly you will do it for the other two transitions where C will be in self loop, and that will be weighted by gamma square and gamma cube respectively. So now if I want to calculate these values, the GTA will be 1, which is the immediate reward which is given over here also. Then 0.8 is the gamma factor which we are taking for this particular example. And then we have the rewards from B to C is given by 1. As you can see, this is the reward. Then we have 0.8 square times the reward that you are getting for remaining in state C, that is 7, and then 7 is again multiplied with 0.8 to the power cube, and when you evaluate this, the reward that you are getting to be in state A is 9.864. So there are multiple ways of reaching the final destination C. This is one of the paths. In the second path, it might be the case that the agent will take for A to C and then it will remain in C throughout. And these transitions are because we are actually taking n is equal to 5 in calculating the returns. So now if you again recalculate this, then you will get the answer as 20. So you can see that return that you are calculating for A is completely a random variable, because in one of the paths it is getting 9.864, in the second path it is getting 20.664. So every time when you are calculating the return for a particular state, let us say A here, depending upon how many ways you can reach to the final destination C from A, you can get multiple such values. So this indicates that our return is basically a random variable and it is having different values for different path because of the probabilistic transitions that you have in between the states. So in order to quantify this probabilistic random variable, which is defined as GT, which will have different values at different paths, we will be defining one term which is called as value function, which will be basically nothing but the expected value of this random variable, which is GT for a particular state. So let's define this value function in our next slide.